Hello students. In today's class we are going to begin a new short story, that is A Horse and Two Goats. This is the three short story of your book Treasure Trove. This short story, A Horse and Goats, that is written by R.K. Narayan. In the last class when I was taken on Zoom, there I explained you about your author. I also discussed the plot and setting of the story, and we had a discussion on the title of the story. So today we are going to have the synopsis of the story. I hope after having this you will get the chapter well. So without any delay, let us begin the class. Here on your screen you can say that A Horse and Two Goats is a short story written by acclaimed Indian writer R.K. Narayan. The story was published in 1960 in the Indian newspaper The Hindu. So here is the publication date of the story in 1960. It was published in The Hindu newspaper, okay, the Indian newspaper. Clear? It is one of the best short story of Mr. R.K. Narayan. So it did not reach a broad international audience until it was published again in 1970 as the title story in Narayan's short story collection A Horse and Two Goats and Other Short Story. It was not popular until it was published again. Okay, it was republished. Student, it was republished with another name, that is what you can see that it is another name, that is A Horse and Two Ghosts with Other Stories. It is published with this name. This is a short story collection in 1970. It was published again. So after having the the republication of this short story, it gained popularity. Clear? So you have to remind two things. First, it was published in 1960 in the Indian newspaper, that is The Hindu, and then again it is published a new title, that is A Horse and Two Story and Other Stories, which was published in 1970. Clear? The story appeared for a third time under the banyan tree, another volume of Narayan short stories published in 1985. Again, one fact is given about the short story, that for the third time it was published under the banyan tree. Okay, under the banyan tree it was another volume of his short stories. So it was published again when under the banyan tree. That is also a short story, a volume of Mr. Narayan's short story, that is also published in 1985. So you can see that your story, the short story what we are going to have today, had been published thrice. Clear? First of all 1960, then 1970, and then 1985. Clear, students? Now, although the story was originally criticized by critics, it is not one of Narayan's most well known works. Okay, it was also it was generally praised by the critics, but it is not one of the most well known work of Mr. Narayan. See, the story takes place in Kritam. Okay, Kritam, one of the smallest India's 700,000 villages. So Kritam is a tiniest village. Okay, is the tiniest village. Clear? It is in Kerala. Despite its small size, the village has a grandiose name. Kritam means crown or coronet, as it is it is having a small size, but despite of its size, people call him coronet. People call him Kritam. That means crown or coronet. Okay, in Indian language of Tamil. So in Tamil, Kritam is what? Crown. Clear? See that there are 30 houses in the village, most of them simple thatched huts. The only sophisticated resident in the village is the big house. Okay, a brick and cemented building from whose well and the local villagers get their water Muni, an old goat herder, lives with his wife one of the huts. He is the poorest resident of the village. Every day he herds his flock of 40 goats and sheep to the highway on the outskirts of the village and lets them graze as he sits and watches them. Okay, so here you can see that all the houses which is there in the village Kritam, they all were in made up of unspecific material. Okay, unspecific material like bamboo and all. What about one house? Only one house which named the big house, that was only cemented and colored. Okay, and from where people used to get water in that particular house. And all rest of the house, so that is what not permanent house, that is look like temporary house made up of mud and cloth. Okay, Muni's house was one of the last house in the village. He lives with his wife and in one of the huts, as I told, and he is the poorest resident of the village. Every day he gets his flock of 40 goats and sleep to the highway. And then after what he does there, he just enjoy the lorries and buses coming and going there. And then after he's looking after the graves and he sits and watches them. Clear? Now we have the next slide. That is, one day Muni picks some drumsticks, or seed pods from the tree in front of his home and asks his wife to cook them in a sauce for him to eat. Okay, one day what happened? Actually, there was a drumstick tree. Okay, drumstick tree in front of the hut of Muni. So once what happened? He picks some drumsticks or its seed pods, and he told his wife to cook it, and he wants to eat it with sauce. Okay, because of the couple's poverty, Muni's daily meals usually consist of only millet and an onion at lunch. As they were very poor, so Muni was too poor to buy his food. So every day they have the same food. What is that? Millet and an onion. So Muni's wife agrees to make the sauce if he can get all the necessary ingredients from the village shop. Okay, his wife agrees, but she needs the ingredient that that is somewhere very important for the food what he demanded. So see that what he listed. He told to so she told to have the necessary items like see that here, like dal, chili, curry leaves, mustard, coriander, gingerly oil, and a potato. But Muni has no money to pay for all the items. But he tries to convince the shop owner to give them to him on credit by engaging conversation and laughing at his jokes. Actually, he did not have money, but he thought that when he smiles, he will laugh, he will shaking the shopkeeper. So maybe shopkeeper he will ready to give the items to him. However, the shop owners shows Muni a ledger of past debts that he owes and says he must pay them off before he can apply for the credit. What happened actually? But he did not ready to give the new items. Why? Because he has to repayment of his earlier debt. So that is why he denied not to give. Clear? Muni tells him that his daughter will give him some money for his 50th birthday, although he does not actually have a daughter. Okay, that shop owner does not believe him and says that he looks at least 70. Okay, actually Muni was an artless person. Okay, artless person, he does not know how to how to tell a false statement. So when he was making he just tried to make a try to make assurance to the shopkeeper that he will finally pay all the debts what he had earlier, saying that on his 50th birthday his daughter will send him money, and as she will send money, so he will pay all the debts of the shopkeeper. But everybody in the village know that Mani had not any child. So the shopkeeper was very surprised that you don't have any child, and also your age is not, 50, looking like 50. You are looking like 70. So the shopkeeper was easily catch that Muni was making false statement. Muni goes home. Actually, he did not give any. He did not give anything to Muni then. Muni goes home and tells his wife to sell the drumstick because now it is not any, it is not have a worth for him now, since he could not any ingredient for the sauce. He then takes his flock of goats and goes to the highway to let them graze as usual. While he is there, he sits on a pedestal that the base of a clay statue depicting a majestic horse and warrior. Okay, he was in habit of going where to the highway, where he just used to go for grazing his animals, his goats. So while sitting there, there was a statue of a horse and a warrior. So he just used to sit on the pedestal of that statue, the base of the statue made up of clay. It is look like a marvelous statue. So the statue had been there since Muni was a young child. It is the oldest, one of the oldest statue there, and his grandfather had explained to him that the horse in the statue was a reference to the mythical horse Kalki, okay, who according to Tamil legend will come to life when the world ends and tremble all bad men. So according to this story, that statue had been for many years ago when they were a child. Muni was child, so he had information about the horse for his grandfather, that it is very according to them, according to Tamil legend, that it will come to life when the world ends and trample all the bad men. So according to the history of the horse, that things was told by his grandfather to Muni. While Muni is sitting there, he sees a yellow station wagon coming towards him down the highway. The car runs out of gas and comes to a shop on the road in front of the statue. A car stops there, and a white foreigner gets out of the car and asks Muni in English whether there is a gas station nearby. What he asks? He asks for that is there any gas station nearby. However, Muni cannot communicate with him because he does not speak English and the foreigner does not speak Tamil. Clear? So they both were not getting to each other. The foreigner, who tells Muni he is a coffee trader from New York, takes an interest in the statue and wants to buy it. He offers to pay Muni for the statue, thinking that it belongs to him. Okay, so he told that he just wants to buy this statue. He mistakes that he is the real owner of the statue. Why? Because he was near about the statue. Muni does not understand what the foreigner wants and initially mistakes him for a police officer because he is dressed in khaki. Muni believes the man had arrived to investigate a dead body that was found on the border between Kritam and a neighboring village a few weeks before. So he understood that the man, a foreigner, was a policeman who came here to investigate a matter. Actually, there was a murder before a few days, and a dead body found between Kritam and one of its neighboring village. So he thought that he came and for that investigation and all. Okay, he tells him that he does not know anything about the incident, that the murderers probably lives in the other village. So he was asking for information about horse and all, but Muni was not getting anything what the foreigner was saying. So without knowing anything what he is asking or demanding for, he giving additional information about that, about his village and all. So here we can see that Mr. Narayan wants to show how there is a lack between conversation, how in the both the languages, okay, Tamil as well as English. So the foreigner does not understand. He offers Muni some secrets, okay, and explains that he and his wife Ruth, okay, his wife name is Ruth, the foreigner's wife decided to travel to India on vacation after a power failure in the Empire State Building forced him to work 4 hours without air conditioning on a hot summer day. So he explained him that he and his wife Ruth came. They decided to travel to India. Why? Because they just wanted to spend vacation. Actually, there was power supply fail in their country. Okay, so that is why they are forced to leave in 4 hours in their state. So in that condition, they decided to have a visit to India, so that so that they can enjoy and know how without power supply the Indians are living their lives. So they are thinking so that they came here. So Muni eventually realizes that the foreigner is interested in a statue and starts explaining the statue's history and the legend of Kalki to him. Actually, they both were not getting to each other, but the expression what they were talking, so that conversation they had, so that they had for some time. So in that particular time, they both have the habitual of each other. Now they both were getting each other's sense. What he was saying, so he realizes that he was somewhere interested in that horse, and he started telling a story what he heard from his father, grandfather and all. Clear. He talks about the Hindi religion and asks the foreigner about his family, while the latter tries to negotiate a price for the statue and says that I would look good in his living room. It would look good in his. Actually, the foreigner was talking to him that I will keep this house in my living room, so that when somebody come they can see that the marvelous statue. And what he was saying about the statue, Muni was talking about his family and all. So he was saying something and he was getting something. The conversation continues for a while before the foreigner gives Muni a 100 rupee note and asks him to help move the statue to his car. Muni believes at first that the foreigner is asking him for change, but and suggests that he go to the village money lender. So first he thought that he was asking for change, and he told them to it should be better to go to the money lender for the change. When the foreigner stoops down to pet some of his goats, however, Muni mistakenly believes that the man is giving him 100 rupee to buy his flock, means his goats. Elated, Muni accepts the man's money and leaves the goats behind for him. Actually, while their conversation, when there was goats, no, so he was having a light hand on the goats, on his goats. So Muni thought that now he is going to buy my goats, so that is why he gave him that 100 rupees. So he leaves the goat there and he left that place. Clear? Thinking Muni had agreed to sell him the statue, the foreigner flags down a passing trucks and pays the men to help him detach the statue from the pedestal and move it to his car. He also pays to siphons off some of their gas so he can restart his engine. Okay, so with the help of any other person who were coming to the highway, he just took the with the help of them he took the statue into the car. And what about Muni then? Muni goes home and shows his wife the 100 rupee note, telling her that he received it from a foreign man who stopped to buy his goats. At that moment, however, the couple hears bleating outside their door and discover two of Muni's goats standing there. As he was talking, they found that the goats were what they were bleating. Means they were, like a special sound of goats. So that was bleating. So they were bleating. They found that both the goats were standing on their door. Muni is confused while his wife suspects him of stealing the money and says she will go to her parents' home because she does not want to be there when the police appeared and catch him. So that was about the story. Now we will have the theme of the story. So here we can see that the main theme of the story are culture clash. Actually, the culture of the foreigner and the villagers are somewhere different. So that was the clash between the culture. Okay, miscommunication is one of the themes. Money, wealth, and poverty. So here we can have the theme like culture clash, miscommunication, money, wealth, and poverty. Mr. Narayan constructs Muni's impoverished, impoverished but culturally rich lifestyle with the foreigner's materialistic wild view, in which everything may be bought and paid for. Here Narayan want to make contrast that Muni's impoverished but culturally rich lifestyle with the foreigners' materialistic worldview. What they had expect, the writer just wanted to show here. While the horse statue carries great cultural and religious importance for Muni's village, to the foreigner, it is just a decorative item to serve as a taking piece during his party. So here that clash, that contrast can be seen. A thing that is the symbol for culture and religion, but here you can say that for other people, for that foreigner, it is only a piece for decoration. He can use that horse for the decorative purpose. So student, I hope that the story is somewhere clear to everybody. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the class. So student, till that time, thank you so much and have a nice day.